coming up in the next 30 minutes. The MP heads to Supreme Court to challenge Parliament's approval of payment of monthly salaries for the spouses of President Akufo-Addo and Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Vice Chairman of Parliament's Finance Committee Patrick Boama urges the House to reject what he considers an unrealistic $28 million car loan agreement to buy vehicles for all MPs. And on the international front, South Africa's ex-president Jacob Zuma turns himself in to police to begin a 15-month jail term for contempt of court. And thanks for joining us here at 11 a.m. And now first in the news, South Africa's ex-president Jacob Zuma turned himself in to police on Wednesday to begin a 15-month in jail for contempt of court. Now, the culmination of a years-long legal drama seen as test of the post-apartheid state's ability to enforce rule of law. Police spokesperson Liranzo Themba confirmed in a statement on Twitter that Zuma was in police custody, a compliance with the Constitutional Court judgment.
The Constitutional Court gave Zuma a 15-month jail term last week for defying an instruction earlier in February to give evidence at an inquiry into corruption during his 9 years in power until 2018, led by Deputy Chief Justice Raymond Zondo. Police had been instructed to arrest Zuma by the end of Wednesday if he failed to appear at a police station. Hundreds of his supporters, some of them armed with guns, spears and shields, had gathered nearby at his rural homestead in Nkandla, eastern South Africa, to try to prevent his arrest. But in the end, the 79-year-old decided to go quietly.
Jacob Zuma has been admitted to start serving the 50-month sentence in a correctional service system. He was admitted just after 1 a.m. today on the 8th of July.
It was a remarkable fall for a reverend veteran of the African National Congress Liberation Movement who was jailed by South Africa's white minority rulers for his part in its struggle to make everyone equal before the law. Zuma denies there was widespread corruption under his leadership, and on Sunday he has struck a different note, lashing out at the judges and launching legal challenges to his arrest. His lawyers asked the Constitutional Court on Wednesday to suspend its order to the police to arrest him by midnight pending the outcome of his challenge against a jail sentence. Zuma gave in to pressure to quit and yield to Ramaphosa in 2018. He has since faced inquiries into allegations of corruption dating from his time as president and before. The Zondo Commission is examining allegations that he allowed 3 Indian-born businessmen, Atul, Ajay and Rajesh Gupta, to plunder state resources and traffic influence over government policy. He and the Gupta brothers, who fled to Dubai after Zuma was ousted, deny any wrongdoing. Zuma also faces a separate court case relating to a $2 billion arms deal in 1999 when he was deputy president. He denies the charges. The former president maintains that he is the victim of political witch hunt and that Zondo is biased against him.
And we have now been joined on Zoom by South African journalist who is the acting chief reporter for Daily News and Inside Factor, Thabo Makwakwa, for more. Now, Thabo, welcome. What is the general mood in South Africa now?
Right. It's a lot of confusion. I mean, some people are obviously celebrating his arrest, and then we've got a whole lot of his supporters saying that what has been done to him is actually a travesty of justice. So the model is quite confusing. People are unhappy, and it is, at a time when we don't know what the next move will be. Remember that he launched a court application this week, early in the week, asking the High Court to actually reconsider, to review his a court judgment in which he was sentenced to 15 months. So he was basically asking the court to at least review that court judgment so that he will be given time to go for trial. He will be given at least some time to go and present his case, and also, give reasons as to why this sentence was far-fetched.
So now that, like you just mentioned earlier, he denied that there was widespread corruption under his administration, and that on Sunday he has struck a defiant note, lashing out at the judges and launching legal challenges to his arrest. Now, from his camp, what have they been saying? You just mentioned that they are still going to go ahead with a legal challenge. But aside that, anything else from his camp? Now that he's turned himself in, what is the target?
All right, so last night, just before he handed himself over into the correctional services in his province of KwaZulu-Natal, he actually wrote to the Constitutional Court trying to convince them to at least, have a look and review, suspend his stay in prison. And the Constitutional Court, unfortunately, had not responded, and he was meeting his deadline, so he had to hand himself over to the nearest correctional services in Ascot, KwaZulu-Natal. Jacob Zuma is not going down without a fight. That is one thing for sure. I spoke to a family member, one of his sons, who has said that they will comply with the Concord judgment that he must actually be arrested by at least Wednesday midnight, which of course he did. But he was still, trying to explore other legal avenues to him. He is still trying to get some legal recourse. He is still trying to fight from within, and these people outside, obviously, there are many movements that are launching court applications, trying to at least have the Court to reconsider its decision to imprison him. One of the arguments is that there are rumors that the plan was to actually poison him once he's in, prison. Of course, this is yet to be confirmed as we speak to some of his family members, but there has been a lot of, talk around President Zuma, his life being at risk. And we saw a report today, and we are yet to confirm whether it is true or not, in which the CIA has apparently issued a report stating that his life was under threat. So these are some of the things that we're still going to confirm. I can tell you also that his spokesperson, Mzwanele Manyi, has indicated that he will not be giving interviews for the best part of the day, and this is because they are still consulting with the lawyers and having talks with other people.
All right, so according to information given to us, Metro TV, by the spokesman for the Department of Correctional Services in South Africa, Zinkabaki, he stated that Zuma turned in at 1 a.m. midnight. Why couldn't you do that during the daytime and rather midnight?
So what happened was that he was still exhausting other options, after his lawyers wrote to the Concord. They were hoping that maybe the Concord would urgently respond before Jacob Zuma could hand himself over. So he was actually, trying to look for the best way of handling the matter. And of course, to indicate that he was in no way going to be, in another contempt of court and defy the Concord judgment, he then decided to hand himself over. And we also understand that before doing so, he had to call a family meeting, an urgent family meeting, to try and reassure them not to worry too much, to try and make sure that everyone was okay and they understood this transition which was about to happen. And I guess, that's the reason why he decided to do so. But eventually he went. We saw a convoy of Moked at the Presidential Protection Services transporting him to the nearest correctional services facility.
And also, according to a report from South Africa, some followers of him gathered on the street and met him with some cutlass and what they actually came there with to make sure that he was not going to be arrested by the police. Where are these people and what are they also saying?
Right, so his supporters, you would have seen that the whole of last week spent a great deal of time outside Jacob Zuma's house, and they were ready to defend him. But President Jacob Zuma, understanding the democratic processes and respecting our constitution, he decided to inform his supporters that they should stand down. He is not going to allow his home to be, a pool of blood where people are going to be shot as they resist his arrest. He informed them to calm down, and he told them that he was going to comply with the laws of this country and had himself over in prison. People were, of course, ready to defend him, but you would also understand that prior to the arrest of Jacob Zuma, there was level 4 lockdown regulations that were implemented by President Ramaphosa. So it was going to be, the tempering of those regulations, and people decided to go and, protest and, refuse the authorities to have access to his homestead. So what they did was to just stand down. But of course, we had a few of the MK, MVA veterans who were outside his gate, who have been there for months protecting him and ensuring that he was safe, who were outside his gate. And we also had journalists, reporters from different media houses who were outside his gate, and of course his family members who stood by the gate to support and protect the president.
All right, and we are also told by an insider here at Metro TV that Jacob Zuma's wife, Gertrude Zakele Kumalo, fainted as he turned himself in. What can you report about that?
So we learned yesterday, of course, that the wife did collapse at the news. As the husband was explaining as to what was happening, she did not take it very well. Of course, it took a toll on her. You would remember that Jacob Zuma spent, quite some time in exile and also, in prison. So it is only normal for the wife who had tried to keep the family together when Jacob Zuma was nowhere near his home, making sure that their children were raised well and fed. And now, just when she thought, maybe I will just grow old next to my husband, die next to him, be with him, until the last, then this democratic government jails her husband. So it took a toll on not only the senior wives and all the other junior wives, but on all family members, including the kids who kept crying and were informed that some of them even had to be provided with counseling. So it has been very difficult. And also, I think what is so emotional to them is understanding that perhaps the law was not on their side. And of course, they were denied access to, democratic processes in a form of, having a fair trial, and also, avoiding detention before trial, which of course in Zuma's case was actually disregarded by our laws here in the country at the moment.
Okay, and last question before you go, Thabo. Has the political party he represents made any statement yet?
Come again?
Has the political party he represents made any statement yet?
I'm not sure if I got the question about the police.
Thabo, Thabo, I want to find out if the political party Jacob Zuma represents has made any statement yet.
All right, thank you so much for that question. So the African National Congress did actually deliver a press briefing a day before yesterday, indicating that they were, in support of the Constitution, and they were standing behind the courts of this country, meaning that the judgment of the Constitutional Court was to be supported, and they encouraged South Africans to do the same and ensure that we protect our Constitution and, the pronouncements made by the court. So the African National Congress has sort of, in a way, distanced himself from the former President Jacob Zuma.
We know that President Ramaphosa had come in contact with him for some time. Has he also made a statement yet?
President Ramaphosa has gone AWOL. He has not said anything in public. He has not been seen by anyone. We understand that yesterday at his house there was a large, huge, convoy of police outside his home, including the defense force. We do not know if maybe it was a briefing with regards to what happened in Gandla at the former President Zuma's home. But Ramaphosa has not said anything. He has not addressed the nation. Instead, his party has been doing a lot of work, informing addressing the nation, and also, taking questions from journalists who were eager to understand as to what is going to happen in the days leading to former President Zuma's arrest. So we are hoping that maybe anytime soon the president will be coming out to address the nation, and not only when he has to introduce some lockdown regulations.
All right, thank you, Thabo Makwakwa. We are grateful for your time with us here on the NewsFlash. As our Thebo joins us all the way from South Africa to give us an insight as exactly what is happening in South Africa on the matter of former president of South Africa, Jacob Zuma, turning himself in to serve a 15-month jail term given to him by the court of the land following what it calls contempt of the court for failing to come to court for procedure on his case in the House to proceed. We'll give you more on that, but let's come back to Ghana. Here in Ghana, all military personnel in Wa barracks who were on duty on July 1, when some of them brutalized residents when the exception of the duty officer have been punished. This was reviewed after a 4-member committee tasked to investigate the assault in the Upper West Regional Capital submitted its preliminary findings. Very small in the full report.
3 of them have been demoted from their current ranks to lower ranks. They are the orderly, guard commander, and the sentry. The orderly has been demoted from staff sergeant to corporal, whilst the guard commander and the sentry have been demoted from corporal to private and lance corporal to private respectively. The trial of the duty officer, who is a lieutenant, will however commence later. Metro News sources also revealed 8 other soldiers who were seen on various videos brutalizing the residents have been charged, tried, and handed 30 days each in detention by the disciplinary committee chaired by the commanding officer. All of the 8 are said to be junior rank, that is, private soldiers. 86 soldiers were identified to have allegedly taken part in the inhumane act that was not sanctioned by the military. They have so far interrogated nearly 30 of them and will continue the interrogation on Thursday. The preliminary investigation also revealed that 11 persons suffered various degrees of injuries, including Gaffer Mahama, who developed a fracture on his thigh bone and has undergone surgery. 3 other persons were admitted to the Wa Municipal Hospital. Some of the victims interrogated reported the loss of 13 mobile phones, a tricycle, and an amount of 1,460 cedis for 3 different people. They have, however, retrieved 7 mobile phones and the tricycle returned to its owner. They are yet to receive any said sum of money. The investigation revealed that the incident started when a soldier whose name is withheld on June 30th alleged his mobile phone was snatched from around 6 p.m. He informed his colleague private soldier, who in turn informed the duty officer that same day. The duty officer is alleged to have permitted the troops to go to town to search for the missing mobile phone, which consequently led to the alleged brutality in Wa. The 86 young soldiers who were passed out between April 30th, 2021 and June 4th, 2021 and were posted to the 10 Mechanized Battalion Agre Barracks. Upon arrival at the barracks, they were granted a month leave and returned on June 30th, a day before the incident ensued. The 4-member team comprised of personnel from the military and the National Investigation Bureau, NIB, and is led by Colonel B.Z. Ayorogo. The other members are Lieutenant Colonel George Edua Besi, Franz Ajay, and Maxwell Dassa. The investigation is under the auspices of the National Security.
Let's stay in Wa as we are joined via Zoom by our Upper Regional Upper West Regional Correspondent Adam Musa for more on this. Good morning and welcome to NewsFlash. Adams, what more can you tell us about the committee's work so far?
Well, thank you very much. Right, like you rightly pointed out, we all heard of the preliminary report, but I must state that this report is not made public. It's just some excerpts of the report that we are hearing, that what you've just read is contained in that preliminary report. But we are waiting until tomorrow, close of day, that we will know the final report. The committee sitting is still going on. Currently, they are in a meeting at the Regional Coordinating Council. And then again, media is not allowed. We only wait after the investigation or the probe that we get excerpts of what is going on. But of course, you know, today is exactly a week after the brutality, and residents are also waiting anxiously for the outcome of this investigation. Normally, residents express fear that this is a usual investigation, normal happen whenever we have issues of such nature. But they are optimistic that after this investigation, the report will be seriously dealt with. I think the region, the municipality, I might say, is calm, waiting for the outcome of this probe. So we are waiting, and everything is okay in the municipality, only to wait and then see what will be the outcome. Tomorrow is the last day of the sitting, a 4-member committee to submit their findings. So we are waiting to see what this report is. But what we currently heard that this is part of the ongoing investigation is not far from right, because we've been told this is what they are gathering. But we just cannot authenticate the preliminary investigation. That will be the final document. We cannot guarantee that until they are done with their investigation.
Thank you, Adam Musa, for that update. Adam Musa joined us all the way from our Upper West Regional correspondent. You are still watching this flash here on Metro TV Live on DSTV channel 277. We return from this break with more.
Cloth handkerchief gets dirty and wet after wiping your sweat or blowing your nose with it. Keeping a dirty handkerchief in your pocket or bag is very unhygienic. Reusing it increases your chances of getting sick from germs. That is why I always use Flora disposable handkerchiefs. Flora disposable handkerchiefs is disposable, thus making it a more hygienic option. It's thick and very absorbent. With 10 tissues in a pack, Flora disposable handkerchief is better than a cloth handkerchief. The Flora toilet roll, Flora multi-purpose paper towels, Flora table napkins, and Flora box tissues in a shop near you. For both purchases, call Delta Paper Mail on 0243 033 033.
The search for a reliable partner in dealing with your U-turn bus needs has been made easier and convenient with SA Automobile. SA Automobile, formerly U-turn Ghana Limited, has been in the business of offering quality U-turn products and services at competitive rates. At SA Automobile, our team of expert staff, management, engineers, and mechanics professionally deal in the sale of U-turn buses, genuine spare parts, its repairs and maintenance at a highly effective workshop with remarkable speed. We also have available the sale of Camel car batteries, Weichai and Kia spare parts, Zonton coaches and light duty vehicles for everyday movement. Contact us on 020 000 0831 or 054 555 7500. You can also email us info@saautomobilegh.com or visit our website at www.saautomobilegh.com. SA Automobile, the pleasure of doing business with you is all ours.
Welcome back. And our Vice Chairman of Parliament Finance Committee and MP for Kankwe Central, Patrick Buoma, is urging members of Parliament to reject what he considers an unrealistic proposed $28 million car loan agreement with the National Investment Bank for purchase of vehicles for all 275 MPs. Finance Minister Ken Oforiatta has presented a loan agreement for $28 million to Parliament for purchase of 275 vehicles for members of Parliament. Now, based on the amount and the number of individuals involved Each MP is expected to receive over $100,000 for the purchase of a vehicle. Now, the Finance Committee of the House is expected to consider the loan agreement and report to the House.
I have my way. I'll ask MPs to reject the loan and ask government to procure vehicles for us. For us to use in the performance of our duties. After 4 years, we leave the vehicles for them. Because before I started taking my salary in the 8th Parliament, I was given a notice that from February, a certain amount of money will be deducted from my salary in anticipation of this loan, which is yet to be approved in July. So from February, I started paying.
That was last year.
This year, 8th Parliament. Okay. I started paying, even though I hadn't seen the loan. That one, nobody saw anything wrong with that. But the president, down the line to ministers, you are MPs, you are journalists in Parliament, you see ministers. They come here with official vehicles. Some have the 4-wheel and the saloon. Nobody complains. The members of the judiciary, they do. Nobody has complained. MPs, they are not having it for free. They are procuring a loan. That one, there's a problem. That one. So I think we need to interrogate it. If the public thinks that MPs don't deserve a vehicle to work with, we should know.
Still on a cast for MPs in Parliament, Member of Parliament for South Day, Roxanne Nelson Dafiamakpo, says cannabis production in Ghana should take a scientific approach rather than the economical perspective. According to Roxanne Dafiamakpo, Parliament held an earlier discussion and agreed to industrialize the growing of cannabis and not for individual or personal use. He therefore tasked the Interior Minister to do a community outreach to educate Ghanaians on the exact rollout plan in cannabis cultivation. He said this on Metro TV's flagship program, Good Morning Ghana. We'll give you more on this in a subsequent news bulletin. But for now, let's go to the floor of the House as my colleague Abdullah Mohammed, who is our parliamentary correspondent, is standing by to give us more details on the purchase of vehicles for MPs of the House. Abdullah, good morning and welcome to NewsFlash.
Thank you very much, Bright. Good morning.
Great. So what more can you tell us about the purchase of vehicles for members of Parliament?
All right. So, Bright, before this particular loan agreement would even be adopted by the House and debated for either an approval or disapproval, it has sparked a serious controversy on social media with a lot of people calling out on these MPs for being insensitive to the plight of Ghanaians, especially at a time that the nation is reeling under the effects of a pandemic, which has already killed quite a number of people. Over 700 people have had to die. And government is yet to procure vaccines for mass vaccination of Ghanaians. So essentially what the minority and majority leader would be doing today is to disabuse the minds of Ghanaians on this particular controversial loan agreement between the National Investment Bank and the 8th Parliament of the 4th Republic of Ghana. Essentially what they are going to be saying is that, look, this is a loan agreement. We are going to pay within the 4-year period that we will be members of Parliament, representing the interests of our constituents. Loan agreements is not the first time.
Abdullah, we are struggling to hear you here in the studio. Sound is quite bad. Kindly try and adjust, and we come back to you in a subsequent news bulletin. So Abdullah Mohammed was coming to us live from Parliament to give us all the update on the purchase of vehicles for members of Parliament. And this has been NewsFlash Live from Metro TV. The news returns at 12 with more. I am Bright Amenu. Have a good morning.
Metro TV, insightful and inspiring moments.
It's News Night here on Metro TV and also on DSTV channel 277. In current affairs,
We have the latest political and social news. The Business Bit brings you up to speed with the happenings in the world of business, commodities, the stock and forex market. We also have the latest in the world of sports, plus news across our borders in our international segment. We're on air.
Hello and welcome to Metro News Night, live from our studios here at number 8 Avenue Extension here in Accra. My name is Noble Crosby Anne.
And I am Ifia Fusua. Coming up, our top stories now.
A very good evening to you and welcome to News Night here on Metro TV. I am Bryce Nana Kwesi Amini.
Hello, good evening. My name is Anya Fompofonyo. Welcome to News Night on Metro TV.
I'll be bringing the latest in terms of sports right here in Ghana, Africa and the rest of the world.
Metro TV, insightful and inspiring moments.